What is up, family? It's time once again for some tippity top shelf conversation. And I'm ready. Are y'all ready? Let me get my brothers in here. 1 second. Brother. And then we got to just get my other brother in here. What's up, Jeffy?
Yo, 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 yo. What's
How you
good?
feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. What's good, bro? What's
Just
up,
chilling.
Ingrid?
What's
How you
good,
doing,
Ingrid?
musician?
What's up, Cordelia?
What's up, sis?
Let's get it. Let's get it. I'm just waiting. We just waiting for Mr. Thompson.
Man.
How's your day so far? Well, Jeff, I think I know how your day was.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly, man. But
Exactly.
I'm still
Your,
tired, man.
your day was my day, brother.
Bro,
I was tired too, bro. Me and wifey took the day off. You know what I'm saying? Because she was
listen,
just
man.
like, I am tired. Oh,
Bro, yo, my legs hurt, kid. Like I realized, like I'm not 20 no more, man.
right. Definitely
Man,
not
man.
20. And I ain't even close to 20 no more.
Now I'm far from 20, man. That's 20 years ago, bro.
He
For
said
me.
that was 20 something years ago. Go back to
Yeah, man.
2000. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I used to party hard, and I realized yesterday. I mean, I don't party no more, but I realized yesterday and for those who are wondering, yesterday, Fred and I, we attended a wedding yesterday, and the reception was lit. It was lit. It was lit. I mean, we had an amazing time. Shout out to Franz and his beautiful new wife
Mm-hmm.
on their new
Black love.
found marriage, their union, and we had a great time at the wedding, man. We was partying up, man.
Heck yeah.
All of that, but yo, my knees is killing me, kid, from that, man.
Yo, it bees like that. Trust me. That after wedding special. That's what that's called.
Yeah, man.
All right, fellas. We about to have another amazing conversation.
Facts.
But
Totally
before we
ready.
do, we got to pray. So,
Hmm.
I nominate me. So, I'm feeling prayerful today. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do it.
So, God, we would just like to thank you so much for this conversation that we will have today. Thank you for rest and relaxation. Thank you, God, for how amazing this week is about to be. We pray for the weather to go up so that we could be warmer outside. Thank you so much for this conversation. We pray we don't offend anybody. Thank you for our village and everybody tuning in. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
So something I haven't asked you guys. What's something y'all watching? What are y'all watching? What show is y'all addicted to right now? Are y'all addicted to anything right now? And I asked the village. What show y'all watching right now?
I haven't. Okay, so I haven't. So I don't watch a lot of TV. So
Mm-hmm.
really, right now, my focus on sports, the NBA, especially the playoffs about to start. But there is a show that I do need to start watching again. It's on my list. It's Top Boy. It's
I
on
heard about
Netflix.
that. I gotta
Yo,
start
that's
it.
I watched the first season. I love the first season. So the second season dropped a couple of weeks ago. And it's like basically like the England version of Snowfall. So if you
Oh,
guys love Snowfall, you guys will love that. Um, and yo, that's my show. I haven't watched second season yet, but it's on my list. I need to watch it. So yeah, so I haven't watched any shows, but that's the one that I need to go ahead and get on season two, and also the Wu Saga on Hulu, season two on that. What's up, Princess?
hey Gabs.
My Gab's
Gabby in
on
here.
here.
Gabby in here.
What's up, Princess? She's
Okay.
on here, and she's gonna check right
What
back
you
out since you go to
watching?
bed.
Uh, anything you watching? Been able to catch up
Succession.
on?
Succession on HBO.
Bruh, I gotta finish it, bro. It's so freaking
Mm.
good, bruh.
Um,
What is it about?
Oh, it's good. Let me tell you, it's about a family, and the father is getting sick, right? And
Hmm.
the kids are fighting over the money or who's gonna take over. There's one son that's an obvious choice, but the father don't think he's
yeah.
quite ready right now. So
Mm.
everybody is fighting for this position. And
Okay.
it's so good. It's
Nah, it's great. It's
hilarious.
great.
And the kids
You don't
are
know
fighting.
where it's gonna go.
Heck yeah. And they petty. And all these things are happening with the company. My God.
You know what I'm watching, and I'm like, I think this is better than this other podcast, The
But
Pivot.
the pivot? Oh,
Yeah,
the pivot is good.
Pivot's really good. Pivot's
The
really
I like
Pivot
the
good.
is
pivot.
it's a
Really
really
good.
good, and
It goes
Pivot's
there.
really good.
I think the reason why it's so good is because they ask really great questions,
Right. And
Pivot's really
and they
good.
they're very
transition
open
very
too.
well.
Yeah. It's like they stepped really out of that norm of like, we're not just football players
Facts.
no more. Like
We're a bit.
Yeah.
We're a brand.
yes.
Yeah, they're all
And
four
that's
four
what I
players.
love. I'm trying to catch up on Snowfall. I gotta catch up because people be putting these spoilers out there, so no spoilers. I gotta catch up on that. Me and my wife start watching this show called The Ultimatum, man. Let me tell you,
What's that
The
on?
ultimatum.
The Ultimatum, bro.
Is
It's
it one
basically
of
from the
those dating
creators of
shows?
Love Is Blind, right?
How did I know? I knew it was one of
Oh
those.
my lord.
Christ.
I knew it
Oh
was
So
my
one of those
lord.
shows, bro.
So the experiment is
What up, Rachel?
they take these
Maybe
couples,
back
What's
some
up,
right?
Rachel?
some Henny.
So Anthony and Jeff, they take these couples, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these couples that are thinking about marriage, right?
Ooh.
And they're thinking about marriage, but it's like one person in the relationship offers the other one an ultimatum. Hey, you either marry me or else, you know. And so what they do is they put them all in this like hotel, or I don't know if it's a hotel or if it's a big like place. Yes, a hotel. It's like a hotel, like a resort, and they like basically date other people in this time frame. They date other people in this time frame. Like, so it's like they like kind of broken up, and they like switch off partners, and then
Sound
they
just
go
turned
back
into
to
me.
they go back to their partners toward the end of the experiment to decide
Sounds
if they
very.
still want to be
It's
with
true,
them.
Teray. Sounds very messy, Teray. Oh gosh.
That sound like AKA open relationship.
That's what they need to call that. I told wifey, I was like, they need to call this show. Forget the ultimatum. They need to call this show. Nigga, do you want to break up?
This sounds like a whole lot. This sounds like a whole lot of entanglements going on in here, man.
Yo, straight up. Yo, son, I think I
What's
got
up,
into it
Cuzzo?
because I was just like,
What's up,
you know
Patricia?
why I got into it? Because I figured like there's so many conversations that could come from it. Because it's so it's literally like, I'm like, is this what dating is? Is this? I'm married. I'm glad.
You know me. It's like I hate these type of shows, man. I really do.
Jeff really hate it.
I hate those shows. The Love Is Blind.
It's
Ultimatum.
exactly, Cordelia. It's a polygamy. It's AKA American polygamy.
What's up, Wes?
What's the other one? Marriage at First Sight.
Married at First Sight. Oh my God. Married at First Sight. Oh my God.
I hate those shows, man. Yeah, y'all can watch it, man. I'm good, man.
Yeah,
I hate those shows.
I
Wife be watching them religiously, but I can't do it. Man. I walk away.
I know she going in. She
I be watching with Janelle.
I can't get into those shows.
Jeff like, I'm about to go play the PS5. I'm sorry. Anthony was triggered. My bad. I think it's healthy to like sometimes like turn your brain off and just watch something and get entertained by it. Like I'm still waiting for like BMF to come back. I want to catch up on Ghost.
That was my show. BMF.
Yeah, BMF, bruh.
Dope.
That is a show. I definitely want to catch up on Succession too, and then I heard Billions is good. Huh? Billions is good too, right?
Billions. The last season was not good because they took out that main character. But for the first, second, and third is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But you can't go wrong with Billions. The storytelling, and for me, I think I look for storytelling.
Okay.
And I think Top Boys and all those are great storytelling.
Absolutely.
And I also look for good acting. I don't know, and respectfully, she might be listening. I don't know how Janelle watched The Oval. That joint is horrible acting.
What? You talking about the Tyler Perry?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my lord!
It's
Yo,
trash. It is. It is.
tell me
It's
why
trash.
I watched this other Tyler Perry show. There was this
It's
scene
trash.
where these dudes was about to argue, and the dude, he was like, "You ain't gonna hit me." And the dude, he knocked the light skin dude out.
Oh yeah.
Twirled around and fell underneath the counter. I was like, "Dang!" I
But
was like,
why he gotta be light skinned for? Why the white light skinned guy gotta twirl?
"Cause he was light skinned, Jeff."
Yo,
I don't
come
know
on,
what to
son.
tell you. He was
Come
light
on, son.
skinned.
As part of the light skin community, I'm offended. I'm offended.
Nah, I give it to
I can't do nothing about that.
Because I'm not. If I get punched in the mouth, I'm not twirling. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, but
I'm not gonna twirl.
He twirled, bro. No,
I'm not gonna twirl, do a split, and you know what I'm saying? Nah, son. That's disrespectful.
Is there any? But like, fellas, let me ask you: is there any shows that y'all watch with y'all wives?
The Sisters.
Sisters, okay.
Yeah,
Is there any
it's a
show
good
you watch
show.
with your wife, Jeff?
Oh, Abbott Elementary.
Oh, Abbott Elementary is hilarious, man.
We love that show.
Yeah.
That's my show.
Me and Beans, anything true crime, we own it. Anything that's true crime where they was like they were alone in the woods.
Yeah.
I was like, me and Beans was like, huh? Well, what?
You know what's good but super soap opera-ish is the Jan the Virgin.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that was a good show.
Yeah, it's comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And Village, feel free to give us any recommendations for shows to watch too.
I'm
We
always
looking
on break, so please let me know what good shows to watch. Cause side note, them ticket price is horrible.
Yeah.
They like $1,000 round trip. One person. So my butt will be in Jamaica, Queens.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
This is Louvre said This Is Us. I stopped watching This Is Us because
really?
I said, honestly, this ain't us.
I don't know. I don't know what's This Is Us. What is that?
This Is Us is a show that
What's up, Marylinda?
They want to do so many back in time. They want to go back in time, then go to the present, then go back in time, then go back to the present, then go back in time just to show you a scene to try to make you cry every episode. Like
Sounds confusing.
I'm like, I'm tired of this. I don't. It's not that I'm crying. I'm just don't want to continue watching y'all niggas keep going back in time to show me why somebody died. I don't care no more.
What is this? Back to the Future?
That's what I'm saying. You didn't want to be overly emotional. Beans was crying every episode. I was like, Selena.
Nah, that show's back too.
Like Scandal.
I don't know what
Scandal.
this
Scandal.
No, you're going too far, bro. Scandal was great.
No, I'm going there.
No, you're going too far, bro.
I'm going there.
Scandal was great. Those monologues was amazing. All right.
I've never watched
Scandal. Scandal was a great storyline.
Great plot. You see too far. Yeah. It's like, okay, How to Get Away with Murder was great, right? But I hated
that was good.
The freaking them going. The acting was impeccable, but them going. They was like, okay, we're going back 24 hours. I was like, okay, 24 hours. I need to see what happened. And then they were like, 17 minutes ago. I was like, nigga, why? 17 minutes ago. Does that really happen?
It's giving you why we got to this scene.
But Anthony,
24 hours,
Delia said
17 minutes, 17 seconds.
After that, they go 2 minutes ago.
You know what?
Like
you know what, Fred?
Ago.
You know what, Fred?
I don't
write your own show.
It's gonna be called. I'm like Anthony.
If you go on Fred's page right now, he's doing an amazing job. He's being consistent. He's doing everything in regards to comedian. If you want to laugh right now, after the live, go on his page. He's doing an amazing job. Just a quick plug-in for you, bro.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it.
I believe you're right, though.
All right, all my stuff, Ant. And my show gonna be called
Jubert?
Anthony Better Like This. No, I'm just kidding. But our conversation today, we have a conversation amongst us, right?
Yeah.
And it's about kids. It's about the future. You know what I'm saying? For me and Anthony, Jeff, as we know, is a magnificent father to his daughter Jeffy, who we love, who we adopted as our niece. And so the topic of conversation is like, why are we more opposed like, why are we harder on our daughters than we are our sons? Like, I don't have kids yet, but Anthony himself is a teacher. I myself have a whole mess of nephews that, like, we kind of had a hand in raising. Why do y'all feel though we are harder on girls than we are boys? And we could just put that in society. Like, why do y'all think that is?
I'm going first.
Anthony, like, let's go.
So, this disclaimer, as we have about at least 1,000 people on this live, I just want to make sure we know that we're not trying to offend anybody. We're just giving our opinion, perspective, and our thoughts. Go in.
What's up, Lexi?
Hey, Lexi. Lexi, feel free to chime in.
Facts.
I guess I'll start off then. So I have a daughter, so I can't really compare it as far as like how to raise a daughter versus a son, because I don't have a son. But I've also had a helping hand of, like, you know, I wouldn't say raising, but being like a mentor to my nephews. You know, saying, because I do have two nephews, Jaden and Ethan. Shout out to them, man. I love them like they are my own. You know what I'm saying? You know, secret is like I'm the favorite uncle from what I've heard. But, you know,
your wife said, yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. You know.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. Put it in the chamber.
Whoa. Okay. I was not expecting to go this direction, but okay. All right. But I will say, this is stick to the topic. I think as a whole, girls, women, they definitely have it. We could kind of debate, you know, back and forth regarding who has a heart of men versus women. But I will say, for me and my personal experience, I think women definitely tends to have it a little bit tougher as far as like upbringing and growing up. Because I could just think about, like, even when I was growing up, like, I have an older sister. We're not that much older than each other, but my parents were pretty lenient, especially as Haitian parents. They were pretty lenient as far as what we did. My parents wasn't really strict. But I do know when it came to like dating, they probably put a little bit more pressure on her as far as like who she was dating or how a man is supposed to treat it versus me. As far as when I was, you know, when I was out there dating, when I was young, dating different girls, right? Like, and I think it's because, like, I think society sometimes look at women as the weaker, and I'm not saying that they are, because they're not, but I think society sometimes may look at women as the weaker gender. So they do, you know, they need more protection, right? So like guys are always going to prey on women, right? Or on little girls. So it's like you kind of tend to be a little bit more strict, right?
Right.
Or it's and culturally too, especially like in the West Indian community, it's very, very different, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like, so you have those, they tend to be a little bit more overprotective. You can't do this, you can't do that. You got to be like a lady, you got to be a woman. Girls don't do this, girls don't do that. So they kind of run with these different type of narratives and conversation with boys. It's like boys will be boys, right? Boys are almost have a lot more freedom compared to girls, right? I know, like, I have a daughter with Gabby. I know I'm gonna have, and again, I don't have a son, but I know that there are certain conversations that I'm gonna have with her compared to once I have a son, I may not, or like I may be a little bit more overprotective with my daughter, even though Gabby's like, she's 10, she's gonna be 11. You guys know Gabby; she's a strong-minded kid. She's not gonna lie to bully.
I wonder what you get it from.
She's not gonna lie to anybody to punk her. But at the same time, it's like, as a father, I think about somebody trying to overpower her. You get what I'm saying? So like we think about like just what's the word? Sex trafficking, for an example, right? If they got they sex traffic young boys and young girls, but predominantly more young girls, right? So again, so you think as a parent, as a father, so it's just all these different, I guess you could call them extremes, or sometimes we take extreme measures. But I want to say is like as well that as a parent, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to make it seem like your child can't do anything, right? Or that they like this world that they live in is going to prey on them, and that so they're going to end up having this sense of anxiety or sense of they can't have any freedom or they can't do anything. I always believe kind of like in a balance, I guess you can say, as far as with that. But I do believe that we tend to be harder on little girls and even as women, because society, not saying that women are weak, I don't believe women are weak at all. They are just as strong as men, but society as a whole may look at them as weaker you know what I'm saying, because of that. Even with certain laws, we could debate abortion. We could debate what women should be doing with their bodies. You know what I'm saying? With men, we don't have those type of conversations, right? We don't have to worry about that. But women have to worry about that. So that's like another factor as well with that. So I think all those different pieces, it adds on to it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Can I read this real quick, Ant?
Yeah, do your thing, bro.
So Lexi said the world we navigate as women is very different than the world men have to navigate. Our struggles are different. Not taken away from each other's struggles, but they're just different. It's a very great point.
That's a
I
great
agree
point.
100%.
Great point. So I think from my perspective, and this is a perspective opinion, I think sometimes parents, they start from fear. I myself am not a parent yet, and one day I will have an amazing, beautiful, beautiful black daughter. And I myself know that there's fears I'm going to have. And I remember Kevin Hart was talked about this. It's like, and he was joking around with it, but in regards to his daughter came home and she was holding the cup in a certain way, and he slapped the cup out of her hand. It's like, no stripper's gonna be in my house, no hoe's gonna be in my house. He was right there, saw fear in regards, and she might be innocent, in that perspective. So I think at the end of the day, we as our future fathers or fathers or male uncles, stepfathers, I think sometimes we do it out of fear of what our daughters can be. Like, for example, when I see certain like hip hop stars, I ask myself, they wasn't twerking or showing their titties when they were 5 years old. Like, what do their dads think?
I hope not.
Hopefully. And so it's like, for me, I'll be honest. I would be kind of sad if my daughter was a stripper. Respectfully, for the people that are strippers and things of that nature, I wouldn't want my daughter to be a stripper. I wouldn't want my daughter to get pregnant at 14, 13, 15, and any of those age. So those are things that is like, yo, I'm afraid of. So I'm going to be like, yo, you're not going to those parties at 16? But I remember trying to dance with that girl at 16. So we're living out our fears when it comes to our daughters, when it comes to our nieces and things of that nature. And then when you put the church and that Caribbean mindset, oh Lord, just lock the child up at this moment.
That's it. Ingrid said, I believe you have to give the keys to service so that they're not taken advantage of. I mean, you have to give them the keys to survive so they're not taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I love
point.
it. Anthony, Lexi said, would you care if your son was a stripper though?
Yo, both. Like, like both of them. I would definitely care.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I wouldn't want my son to be categorized as the pimp in the school, or he goes out with all these females. No, that's not what I want my son to be. Because at the end of the day, and if there's parents in this chat, when they get to a certain age, you did everything you could do as a parent. You did not fail your child.
Yeah.
When the world, like I think somebody said it, you gave them the keys, you gave them everything, but they have to now learn how to survive on their own.
Yeah.
And one day they'll come back, but you did not fail them as a parent. That's what I want to. I always, like, every parent call and when I have to suspend a child, I said it's not you, it's your child making this choice.
Right, and that's very much important. You guys had some amazing points. Like, I feel like more than anything, the choices that our child makes when they step outside of our house, we can't control that. We can only give them, like you guys said, the keys to survive. Like, we can urge them, like, hey, stay away from strangers. Hey, don't go to like, you might not want to go to this party because these type of people hang out in this neighborhood, and at this time they get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? And they're shooting at this time. I grew up in a neighborhood where, like, a lot of parties got shot up. That's the reason why my mom was always strict with me and always like, I don't want you to go out. But I'm the fourth child of 5 kids. Can I acknowledge though that me and my brother had it easier? Yeah. And does my mom go easier on us than she goes on her girls? Probably, honestly, because I think for the girls in my family, my sisters, like my mom has a different expectation for them. You know what I think it is like, because they look like her. It's like, I want you to be a better version of me, you know, like, but not me, but a better than I was. That's what
Cordelia said she wasn't able to go nowhere, bro.
Yeah, Cordelia wasn't either. We both was locked up. Locked up.
You won't let me out.
Let me tell you, my mom, this is how bad it was. My mom wouldn't even let me and Cordelia go to our cousin's house half the time. We'd be like, can we spend the night at our cousin's house? No. But why you gotta be mean? Like,
and I think, and that's what goes back to what I was saying. Your mom was living out of fear because of what she saw growing up. So
absolutely.
she saw her daughter, a beautiful daughter, her handsome son, and it's like, what if they go out there in the street and something happens to them?
Absolutely.
And I like, sometimes I ask myself, do white parents have that same fear?
I think they have that fear, but they think about the money behind it. You know, they're like, how much is it gonna cost? No, I'm kidding. But
it depends on the environment that you grew up in too. Depends on the environment. If you grew up in an environment where there's a lot of like, it's poverty stricken, a lot of crime, you're definitely going to be a little bit more fearful.
Yeah.
Like, as a parent, you're going to be. I don't care what it is. Most parents, even if they give their kids a lot of leeway, like my parents gave me a lot of leeway. Right, I was able to go out. I was able to go party and all this stuff. But it doesn't mean that my mom and dad did not worry about my safety.
Yeah.
Right. They trust me enough that I would make the right decision.
Yeah.
And the same thing with my sister. But there's still some level of like fear. But you learn how to kind of let that go, because you don't want to be that parent where you shelter your kids so much.
Yeah.
And when eventually they get out into the world.
I was just about to add on that.
Oh man. You know what I'm saying? They go wild. Not only wild, but it's like
tag me when you're done.
They become very gullible to what society's going to show them. They're not able to, like what Edgar was saying.
Absolutely.
They don't have the keys to survive. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they were so sheltered in their whole life. Like I had a cousin who was very much like that. She was very sheltered throughout her whole upbringing, right? Because, they were 7-day Adventists. They grew up in a very strict religious household. And plus, because she was a girl. The moment that she graduated from high school, she started staying with my parents, you know what I'm saying, for college, to go out to college. My parents like, she could stay with us. Again, my parents are not really strict like that. You know what I'm saying? They have certain rules, obviously, but they're not strict like that.
Right.
She started wilding out. And I remember, like, it became a whole big issue. You know what I'm saying? So when her parents started coming at my pops was like, listen, it's not my fault that you shelter your child from the world. And now she doesn't know how to, like, really conduct herself, you know what I'm saying? Not conduct herself, but like really learn how to adapt into the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, because she wasn't allowed to have boyfriends, she wasn't allowed to talk to guys, none of that stuff. So she had no idea. And now she's in college, and of course there's boys that's going to take interest to her. They're going to start liking her and so forth. And now she could kind of like have a little bit of freedom to be able to do that.
Right.
She ran with it. You get what I'm saying? So parents can, raise their kids out of fear, like what both of you guys were saying.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Two thoughts I had.
Hold on to that thought.
Go ahead, Jim.
I just want to say what Rachel said. She said, I think being transparent as a parent is big. Letting them know we've been there and that we done that, so we know how tempting it can be, but we want better for them.
Right.
And that's what my parents did with me. Like they was like, yo, you can have fun, because my parents, especially my mom, that side of the family, they was at carnival, they party, had a good time. But they also taught me a lot of things at a very young age. Like, this is what you don't do. This is the responsibility of this. This is what happens if you get indulged in this. So yes, you can have fun, but you need to be careful. So there was like that. There was that balance. And so I agree with that, as being honest and being transparent. Because my parents, especially me and my mom, we always had an open relationship. We could actually have a conversation about whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? And she could like help guide me on that. And my dad, he wasn't really that type, but my mom really was.
Right. Go ahead, Ant.
And I think the church has to do a better job regarding teen pregnancies. And because a lot of times where people look at the family and say, "Oh, your daughter or your son got my daughter pregnant," and now it's like this big thing. And I think we got to do a better job as a Christian community
Right.
is when there is a teen pregnancy, because it's going to happen. How
Right.
do we nurture that child? How do we take care of that individual? Because
Yeah.
that child still got to live out in the world. So
Yeah.
what do we do as a community?
Absolutely. Lubinaire said, my parents and my mom raised me with fear, and that has played a part in my adulthood and parenthood. I'm not a rebellious person by any nature, but I feel like there was so much that I wasn't able to experience, and a lot of people go through that. And I just want to salute you for sharing that.
Yeah, Lube is an amazing mom.
Amazing, amazing.
Amazing.
I think just by definition, like what I'm going to teach my kids is that what we have is a bridge of trust.
Yeah.
Once you break that bridge of trust, then it's not about you earning that back from daddy. You know what I'm saying? It's about you rebuilding it. You know what I'm saying? Because once it's broken, because I think that's what happened with me in my younger age. I mean, when I started getting older, I started building this bridge of trust with my mom. And she started giving me more leeway because of it. So she's like, okay, you want to go where? Okay, what time you going to be back? Okay, you can go. And then
they're going to break it.
But I never came back in time. But
Fact.
it's just because she was like I think she was setting me up, talking about come back at 11. I'm like, 11? The real stuff don't get cracking to 1. But I think what it is, it's like you built this thing of trust with your child, and they have to make these different choices.
Yeah.
You know, they get so much pressure from friends, from school. They have to figure all of these things out, and then they have their mom and dad on the side of them telling like, you need to go this way. You know?
Yeah.
And I think for me, when I was younger, it was just like, okay, first and foremost, let me pray and listen to God. And then I have my parent here as well, thank God, to really guide me and show me the way.
You was doing that when you were younger?
Huh?
You said you was doing that when you was younger?
When I was 14. When I
wow.
was 14. Not when I was like younger.
Oh, okay,
when I was younger, I was running around. running around.
For me, I was in the gut parties. I was like, yo, don't leave your daughter around me.
Yeah. It's like I repent on Sunday. No, I think it was a learning experience. Like, but let me ask y'all this, because from this is something that my mom used to always say, and it rings true to this day, and it speaks to the topic.
What's up, Maybelline?
She used to always be like, "I'm not one of your little friends," right? And so that's why I want to bring this question up. Is like, do you think parents should be friends with their kids, or do you believe the latter, like the other part of it, like where it's like, okay, no, I'm your parent. Well, I'll say best friends with your kids. What's y'all feelings on that? In chat, like, do y'all feel like parents can they be friends with their kids, or is that nah, I'm gonna just keep the dad title and you know.
So we got one no. So we got like 20 people in the chat. I really want to hear about this because I'm like half and half. Like I'm like 99% I'm your father, and that 1% I am your friend. I think that friend part is that I have an open door policy. You can come to me for anything. You can come to mommy and daddy. And I think you also can build it as a dad as well. Because you have to be able to know the boundaries. Boundaries are the most important thing that we have. Because once you cross that, when you're in an environment, it's like, whoa, that's really different. Like, why your daughter talking to you like that? Like, you're her friend.
Right. And you got to understand it's a language, because then it's like, the way her daughter talks, like, let's say the way your daughter talks to her friends, it's probably like what if she's cussing with her friends, like, and then she's like big and and they going back and forth, and then she start talking to you like that. I'm like, I would prefer not, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say honestly, I don't believe it can be that way. I think you can be friendly toward your children. I think you can show your children respect and everything like that. But like Anthony, you were saying, boundaries. I feel like if they feel that you're their friend, they can walk on you. They can walk all over you. And they can be like, oh, Dad don't mind. I
Yo,
can
there
take
was
the car. I'm a dip out.
real quick. There's one day I went to a friend's house, like 14, 15, and two things were happening in that environment. One, the child was cursing at the parent. I was like, whoa. And then the second one, they was smoking. The older son was smoking with the parent. I've never seen that before. And I'm like, and did I think I'm gonna bring that to my house? Hell no.
They were like,
left hand side.
Like, here you go, son. Like,
So goes back to my boundaries. So if you don't have boundaries at that moment, it's like, yo, it's free for all here.
Anything could happen. And you leave the door open.
Last point. That's why I always say for parents, you should have the contact number in regards of who your child is going to. You should go to the house to make sure you go in, look, and see where your child is going to be. Because most of the time when your child changes, is when they step into different environments. I want to repeat myself again. Once your child changes, when they go to different environments.
Right.
It could be school. It could be where they hang out with their friends. So you got to be very careful of who your child hangs out with.
Right. Because think about it. There's I love who said that. I think somebody said, BC counseling said the roles need to be clear. And I think that's important because everybody has a role in your child's life. Think about it. They have respect for their teacher, a certain type of respect for their teacher.
Correct.
That they wouldn't have for like their brother or sister. Then you got, this is my dad. This is my mom. This is my attorney. You know what I'm saying? There's different levels of respect for, and you have to make the role clear with your child. Cause it's like, sometimes they will listen to mama, but they'll listen to dad like way different than they listen to mommy. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes they might switch. It might be switch. They may listen to mama, like, hey, wait till your mother gets home. And it'd be a whole different vibe. I ain't gonna lie. I felt like when I ain't gonna lie, my dad wasn't in my life, but when I did hang out with him, I felt like I was hanging out with a friend.
Facts.
When I was hanging out with my mom, well, I didn't hang out with my mom. Let's start that. My mama was not playing with me. She was not playing with me. Like, straight up and down. She, like, let me tell you.
Fred, tap me in real quick.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Go ahead, tap in.
and sometimes, and I think why I'm so and have more knowledge because I'm around parents all day.
Of course.
Parents need parent 101. Because a lot of time parents don't know how to be parents. They didn't see parents growing up. So what they're doing right now is just like, yo, that's my bro. That's my sis. Yeah. That's literally what they're doing because they don't know any type of structure. So a lot of time they're just doing what they think is right.
Right.
Not all parents.
Not all parents. Not all parents. And I want to make that clear.
So I want to chime in real quick. On this as the parent on the panel, right? So what I would say is this. One thing I always say is this: teach your child before the world teaches your child, right? Because obviously, whatever the world's going to teach your child is going to be completely opposite what you want your child to know. So I definitely agree with your point, Anthony, and I definitely agree with Fred's point. And I agree with I was kind of going through the chat and I was seeing what people were putting. I agree with Ingrid was saying, what Lexi was saying. I do believe that as a parent, me and my daughter, we have a very close relationship, right? We're super, super close. You know what I'm saying? It's not a secret. And we do have this friendship type of relationship, but we also have this parental relationship. There's like a balance that works for us, right? And part of it, if I'm honest, has to do because she's away. My daughter lives here. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here, right? So I have to learn how to co-parent from a distance regarding with her mom. If there is something that my daughter does that's out of pocket, her mom will let me know. And then because she knows that if she tells Gabby, like, I'm going to tell your father there is a different type of response that Gabby's going to have, right?
Right.
Like what you said, like what you were saying, Fred, was regarding as sometimes some kids they listen to more their mom versus their dad, or versus their dad versus their mom, right? Because like I think kids know who they can try. They
Yeah.
know who what kids really don't want to disappoint their parents, right? Most kids do not want to disappoint their parents. And if they do, especially certain parents that they have like a super close relationship with, it hurts them, it bothers them, right? So if I
Right.
tell my daughter, for an example, like I'm disappointed on your action or your behavior, she's gonna take it more personally, probably more than she does with her mom, right? Because we have that, she's a daddy's girl, we have that close relationship. Not saying that she won't be disappointed, or not disappointed, but feel hurt if her mom said the same thing, right? I think it just stings a little bit more because again, it's the type of relationship that we have. So I believe like you have to set boundaries around when you are a parent, right? Around your kids, right? You can laugh with them, you can joke with them, whatever, right? You can have this open door policy, which I 100% truly believe. Your
Right.
kids should never be afraid to come to you and have a conversation regarding something that they're feeling. They should always have
I
a
agree.
voice, right? They should always have a voice. I tell Gabby all the time, you have a voice. Let me know how you're feeling, because I never wanted to feel that she can't tell me how she's feeling, even if it's something that I'm going to disagree with. She has a voice to tell me something, but there has to be a balance to know, like, okay, we can play, but at the same time, like, I'm still your father, I'm still
Right.
your mother, I'm still your guardian, which means that if there's this boundary that cannot be crossed, which means that you cannot cross over to like you're my BFF and we're hanging out, you know what I'm saying? And Anthony, the example Anthony gave, we're smoking weed, we're drinking, or there is no governing, there is no parenting, there is no you guiding your kids and setting them up for the future.
Right.
Like Ingrid was saying earlier on, give them the keys to survive, because you're just more concerned about enjoying the moment with your child versus giving them the ability and preparing them for their future and for their life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tap me in real quick. I think BB counseling said is you led onto that transparency and education. So you were transparent with Gabby, like, you know what, an action that you did, Daddy's really disappointed, and that hurts totally different. And instead of you beating them, etc., when you had that communication with your child, that's totally different because one,
Yep.
you're teaching them emotional intelligence. You're teaching them, hey, transparency, social emotional. You're teaching them so many skills in just having a conversation with your
Absolutely.
child.
Yeah, you're teaching them to talk through things. You're teaching them to to really process stuff and really think it through, because I think sometimes we're so quick
What up, Crystal?
like, okay, I grab the belt. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's not grab the belt, it's one of those things, go to your room, go to the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would rather dismiss the problem with doing an action that is going to last like a couple minutes, as opposed to something that could really benefit them, and talking to them, talking to your kids. Because sometimes,
And it's easier said than done too. It really is.
right.
Like as a parent, it's easy. We could say all these things all day, but it is
Yeah.
easier said than done, because sometimes you get frustrated. Sometimes you had a
Yeah.
long day. Sometimes your kids are out of line. They're out of
Right.
pocket, and you're just like, yo, I gotta like put my foot down. I gotta like yell at them, whatever it is, right? I think most parents could somewhat agree to that, but it's trying to parent not out of emotion,
Yeah.
but just out of like, transparency, just like what Ingrid was just saying, we were both saying, like, it's just not allowing us to really shut our child down, because I think that's one of the worst things you could do is have your child
Yeah.
feel like they shut down anytime that you speak to them, or anytime that you discipline them, anytime that you have a conversation with them, because
Right.
again, they fear you as a parent. Like, they fear you not in the
Mhm.
sense of like, I fear my parents because I don't want to disappoint them, or I fear my parents because I'm afraid that they're going to discipline me, but I fear my parents like I don't have a voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I don't know who, you know what I'm saying, that I can, if something trouble was to happen to me, my parents are going to be the last person I'm going to reach out to because they're not going to understand. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And they're just going to just, take it much deeper than what it is. They're going to lock lock the door, throw away the key, and that's it. They're not really parenting me. You know what I'm saying? They're not really preparing me. They're just being like a dictator.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
we
saying?
call that helicopter parents, where you're just hovering over your child. Your child can't be free. There's too much. Like you're just literally training your child. I said it's in the beginning. If you just got in the chat, you're literally training your child in fear, and that's the worst type of parenting.
Right.
Because once that child goes to college or that child get that one bit of freedom, wow. Now
Yep.
I have a question for you guys. Let's go to the boys now. I remember I was in a really good conversation with and I don't know if Ayana's on the chat, but shout out to Ayana. She was holding down she was facilitating a conversation, and one of the boys said, "My mom said to me, and quote, yeah, you can have sex, but just don't bring home no child." What's your thoughts on that?
So I think 'cause that's something that my mom said to me, right?
Okay.
So I definitely can relate from this point of view. I believe it's a thing of like my mom had to hear it from somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's basically a symptom of something that was passed down to her to tell boys, right? Because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, because I'm already projecting this on you that you're gonna go out, you're gonna have the time of your life doing with whatever, with whoever, and that's not even how I was. My mom was trained up. Yes, I want as a teen and everything like that, or young adult, I was like, yeah, I want to have fun, but it was not in my mind to like, yo, I'm about to be out here hitting everything that move. That was not a thing that I was processing because I still had my convictions and I loved the Lord. And there was just so many things that I was going through besides who I'm going to sleep with or who I'm going, there were so many things going on in my mind as a black man. You know what I'm saying? And going through college trying to figure out the next move and the next step. It's bigger than that. So I honestly took that comment with kind of like after a while, like with a grain of salt, kind of, because I felt like my mom was a lot harder on my sisters than me and my brother. Because like, if that's the only thing she's telling me as I'm going out or whatever, like, I'm like, whatever. Like, it can apply to me. It cannot apply to me. I don't really care. Because it's like with my mom and my sisters, it's like, hey, stop. Hey, well, put some stockings on. Hey, tell my sister, hey, that dress is too short. Hey, you need to, hey, you going outside like that with your hair like that? Hey, like women get scrutinized to no end, man. And I just feel so bad, like that they got like that women get scrutinized like this, not even by parents, but just in society in general.
Thanks. Nah, but I had a next thought, but Jeff, you want to add on?
Yeah, I was gonna see if you could let me add on, bro, because you can go to your next thought.
Do your thing.
No,
Do your thing, Jeff.
no. What I was gonna say is that I could agree with Fred. Like I know growing up, my dad used to say the same thing. Like the only sex conversation that we had was just don't bring a girl home pregnant. That was it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think my mom really said that too much, but I know for a fact that my dad said that to me, and I definitely sure that he didn't say that to my sister. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think it's one of those things because like what Fred was saying is like they were taught that, and maybe because it's just this assumption that because we're boys that we're going to be out there having sex, we're going to be out there just doing quote unquote what boys do or what men do,
Right.
right? Talking to girls, having fun with girls, having sex with girls, getting them pregnant or possibly getting pregnant. I say getting them, but possibly getting them pregnant, and then that's it, right? Versus with girls, it's different. It's like we want our daughters to be ladylike. We want them to be like this angel, right? We
Right.
want them to be pure. You know what I'm saying? So if they are having sex, it's like the worst thing to ever happen, right? In the eyes of a parent. But as a son, it's like, but this is what they do, right? Because of their hormones, because it is a double standard, right? I mean, for one, especially now as I'm older and especially as a believer, I definitely do believe, you know what I'm saying, wait till you get married, right? But the reality is we know that's not the case for the majority of people, right?
Right.
Majority of kids. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe it is a double standard. And I do believe is, again, have the conversation before the world has a conversation with your child when it comes to sex.
Absolutely.
Because again, if they hear it from their peers, they hear it from their classmates, they hear it from whoever, they're going to understand and think that sex is just really all about pleasure, and then that's it. And that's just not the truth, right? I learned about sex at a very young age, like
Me
before
too.
I was 10.
Yeah.
I was like 7, 8 years old, and I already knew what sex was. I knew what it was about and everything, right? I knew about
Mm-hmm.
STDs. You know what I'm saying? Because my uncle taught me that. And I'll be honest, because I learned about it at a very young age, it benefited me. Like all throughout junior high, all throughout high school, I wasn't pressed to have sex. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I really wasn't. I had my girlfriends and all that stuff, but there was never a part of me that was like, yo, I gotta sleep with them. Because again, I understood about pregnancy at a young age. I understood about STDs at a young age.
Absolutely.
I understood there's a huge part of responsibility that comes along with it. And then of course, as I got a little bit older, I understand about soul ties. Doesn't mean I was perfect, because I definitely wasn't perfect at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But because I knew about it, I understood it from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care to wild out like that. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Yeah.
because
Tap me in when you get a chance, Jeff.
I was given the conversation at a young age. So that's why, and I know it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have with your kids. And I believe you
Yeah.
should definitely say more than just don't bring a girl home pregnant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or don't get pregnant. You need to have more of an in-depth conversation with your kids, because guess what? When they're at school, when they're talking to their friends, they're having more of a conversation than just don't get pregnant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They're talking about all about this craziness, and I guarantee you, they're not speaking about STDs. They're not speaking about, you know what I'm saying, all these other factors. You know what I'm saying? Not only just STDs, but just like you're giving yourself up to somebody, and that person may possibly not call you. They may just look at you just for that moment in a sexual way, and then that's it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? All these different factors that plays around that at a young age, that a lot of times kids are very immature, or not mature enough rather, to understand.
Yeah.
But you want to give them, again, I'm going to use what Ingrid said, give them the keys to survive. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the keys. Give them the
Absolutely.
keys to survive, which means
I
having
agree.
those tough, hard, uncomfortable, very transparent conversation, and not and make sure that your kids are not afraid to have that conversation with you. Because I guarantee you, if you do, for the most part, not gonna say every child, but for the most part, they're gonna probably be a little bit more careful on
Mm-hmm.
their decision when it comes to like having sex at a young age.
Facts.
Go ahead, friend.
I was gonna say the sex conversations is very important. Like Jeff, I found out really early. I think it was like kindergarten, bro. Like, and the thing was like me being exposed to it. It did benefit me because I knew what was coming. You know, I knew. And then they did when I got to fourth or fifth grade. They did a sex talk with the boys in the gym. They pulled us to the side.
Yeah.
They like, hey, the boys going here, the girls going over there. They
Yeah.
went and they talked to the girls about menstruation, and they talked to them about pregnancy, and they talked to them about sex, and they talked to us about like all the other stuff that guys go through. You know what I'm saying? And then I get to middle school. They go more in depth in home economics, home ec, which those classes are not even offered in certain
Tap me
schools
in when you're
anymore.
done, bro.
I got you. And basically, for me, I feel like this quick thing. My mom, she let my little sister Cordelia, one of her friends got pregnant at 14 or 13 years old when they were in middle school. When they were transitioning from middle school to high school, but she got pregnant that summer. So I'm thinking my mom gonna be like, nah, you can't hang out with this girl no more. She living a wild life. It's crazy. Da 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 da. My mom was like, no, she's hanging out with her every other weekend because I want her to see how much work a child is to understand what she has to go through day in and day out, being a 14-year-old, 13-year-old mother I think she was actually 12 when she got pregnant. But she wanted her to understand what it was like, Cordelia, to understand how hard it is, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, Mom, like
Yeah.
what a time to be alive. It was such a teachable moment. And Cordelia's like, I ain't have no kids. She said, I ain't have no kids right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
that's beautiful.
Bruh, it teaches you them lessons, and you need more parents to be like that. Yep, Cordelia said it. She was 11, 12 or 11 years old, 11 or 12, having a kid, and moms was like, yo, y'all can hang out. You about to find out, though.
He about to learn today.
I'm tapping Anthony in.
So, and this is for the chat, and I would love to know, what age should you start talking about sex in your home for your son or your daughter? I think a lot of times, and I definitely put it in the chat on what age in regards of when you should talk to your child about sex. For me, no one taught me about sex. That's number one. The school didn't teach me about sex and that nature and anything of that nature. So I do think we should bring back those sex ed class, because social media has opened up sex in the age of the 21st century. That is one. Two, I think you should start talking about the body, because boys have things and girls have things, respectfully. And if you don't know how to talk about it, we got Google 101. They can teach you how to talk to your child about their body, about sex. And the last point is, your child is not going to have sex because you're teaching them about sex. That's when I repeat myself. Your child is not going to have sex because you're teaching them about sex. You're just giving them the emotional intelligence to understand their body and the conversation around sex.
Absolutely.
And I think, like you said, there's different levels. Somebody that's in the 4th grade, somebody in the 5th grade, somebody in 7th grade, somebody in high school, college, they have different language. But if you don't talk to them about anything, somebody's going to talk to them about something. If you don't talk about anything, somebody's going to talk to them about something. So please, I beg you, have conversation with your child, niece, nephew, respectfully. If you don't know how to teach them, go to Google University.
Anthony, and I want to add to that what you said. Like, and this is, I'm just echoing what Jeff said, is like, if you don't teach them, somebody else will, right? And I think for me, I learned about sex, right? But I talked about sex to my friends, to my peers, who didn't even understand it themselves. So that was the thing that really messed me up. It messed up my mental about what sex was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking it's just messing around. That's all I'm thinking about. Like in my mind,
me too,
like
bro.
I had it locked in my mind. It's just messing around and being fun. It's like a fun thing, you know. It's a fun thing of messing around and not realizing how like deep it is. How deep of a thing sex is, you know, and how much of a connection it is with that
Tap
person.
me real quick. Yeah,
tapped in.
And I think for me, when I was at like 14, 15, surrounding myself around people that did not have that language and knowledge, they made it seem like it was a badge of honor. And I was like, damn, I wish I had that language or knowledge to be like, you know what? I respect the female's body, and I understand the female body. But it's like, yo, you still a virgin, bro? And I'm like, no, I'm not a virgin. But in my head, I know I'm a virgin. But then it's like, at this moment, what am I going to do with everybody else is not a virgin? So it's like, you have to talk to your kids, and it's so important because they're going to be around people that no one is talking to them, and it's like, yo, it's a free fall.
Right. And
that's why you teach your kids to be a leader.
No,
that's why you got to teach your kids to be a leader, stand on their own 2 feet and not somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? You have to teach your kids to be individuals and not to be an individual, not a foul. Because if not, they will fall into their peer pressure. They will fall into what their classmates, their peers, their friends are doing and saying what's cool. You know what I'm saying? This is what you should do. Not only just with sex, what if it's drugs, what if it's drinking,
anything,
alcohol at a young age, things that could really hinder them. It doesn't mean, again, they can't have fun. They can't, you know what I'm saying, enjoy life, but enjoy life responsibly. You know what I'm saying? And understand there are consequences of the decisions that you make. And I think that's one thing that I have noticed with, in my personal opinion, that with this generation growing up, with the way society is now, the biggest struggle for me that I see is accountability. There's a
So
huge lack of
good.
accountability that takes place because everything now is just YOLO. You only live once. Everything is just yo, live your best life.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about just as adults. We're talking about even with as kids. There's so much freedom, there's so much access that they have, and it's like, yo, kids are kids. But you can just see the huge disarray. You could see the lack of guidance. You could see that it's becoming like a huge free for all because these kids, if they're not learning at a young age, remember, these young kids become young adults. And they follow that same mindset. And it carries on over and it carries on over. You know what I'm saying? And it spills over. And this is what happens. And then now you have where it's just, yo, there is no guidance or anything. And I think that's one of the biggest things. So it's teaching your kids at a young age responsibility, accountability. But again, let there be a balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The kids don't have to be locked up in the room. You know what I'm saying? You know, the moment they come home from school and they're shielded from the world. No, teach them what the world is like. Teach them what goes on in the world. Teach them the reality of life and what the type of temptations that they may experience and how to deal with it. And again, the consequences if they fall into those temptations.
Okay, and
I'll leave it like that.
So I just want to ask, as for me and Anthony, we'll be future fathers, and for you, Jeff, who'll be a future father to the next child you'll have and to the daughter that you have now. Like
I was gonna say I'm already a father.
Yeah,
but
what I'm saying to the next child you'll have,
last time
to
I
the
checked,
daughter you have now. The thing is, it's like, what do you coming away from this conversation? What do you impart to your child after this conversation? Like, how does your perspective kind of change?
For me, I would just say my perspective is just continue to have a open and honest conversation with my daughter. I always say all the time, like, this, when you're around daddy, there's nothing you should be scared of, and that also not translate as far as her protection, but also like any conversations that she wants to have, right? Because I want myself and obviously her mom, and obviously, you know what I'm saying, you know, her stepmom as well, Joanna, you know what I'm saying, that she can go to any one of us and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. You know what I'm saying? Never to the point where it's like, I can't go to my parents about this because I'm afraid that they're going to react, because kids are going to make mistakes. They're human beings as well. You know what I'm saying? Kids are going to make mistakes. They're going to drop the ball. They're going to, whatever it is. But it's like, you could come to me and we could figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's having them understand, you know what I'm saying, that yes, there are consequences, but it doesn't mean that you ruined your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's figure this out so we can get there. And then of course, the balance between boundaries and the balance between being like that parent that they can confide in.
Okay. And Anthony, what about you? What do you feel like you'll take with you from this conversation and this one part?
And BWB counseling was just hitting on the mark. Wisdom after wisdom.
That's Marilinda. Shout out to Marilinda. That's Marilinda. Shout out to Marilinda.
Marilinda. Thank you for that, bro. I think one thing she said was be transparent and give education. That's it. Like, transparency and education. Intersect those two and don't live out of fear and consequence. Teach them. But let them understand that there will be consequence, but just teach them that the transparency in your life and also the education of every action at every age.
Right. I would say for me, it would be like, don't let fear be in your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And really, honestly and truly, like, let your child know that you love them and that you're there for them, and that you know, it's definitely a process, and like that, daddy don't understand everything.
Facts.
Daddy don't know everything.
Facts.
But just know that I'm here. more than anything, because I think that's the biggest. When a child knows they have support, that's different. It hit different. Because I'm telling you, if there was so many times I was wishing my dad showed up to like a production I did. You know, there was so many times that I was like wishing and hoping. Like my mom showed up, but that support hit different when it's your dad.
Right.
You know,
when you look out there in the audience, it's like, oh, my dad is there. It's like
right.
you just do everything to the next level,
son.
Because you want, and I think Jeff said it. You want somebody to say, "I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you, daughter." Yo, that hit different, man.
Absolutely, and it does, man. And I'm like, man, this is an amazing conversation to have because kids, I think we're taught because we're speaking into the next generation. You know, we're speaking because we want to mold them to be everything they can be. We don't want them to be challenged and plagued like we were by the stuff that our parents taught us, and then their parents taught them, and it was all time. Kind of like within that time and within that culture, and then within that religion and what we believe and what they believed at the time, and then them being young and all of those things. Not to down our parents. We love our parents. We honor them. We love them. But I think it's just like to learn from it, because we'll make our mistakes. We'll make our mistakes, but it's learning from it.
Yeah. Lead by example as a parent.
Yeah,
lead by example as a parent.
I think I want to end off with this. Remember, you're the first role model.
That's it. That's it. And that's the point blank period. That's what they're gonna look at and compare you to everything. They're like, Daddy, my daddy is the Black Panther.
Ooh, that's another podcast right there. That's their first step. That's their first understanding of what excellence looks like.
That's it. You the example. That's the exhibit A. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You're the avatar.
let me not forget that tomorrow is a national holiday. It is Top Shelf Tuesday. And y'all know what's dope is that this conversation was so tailored to the conversation that we had on the podcast entitled something like, what is something that you can't prepare your kids for? Right? So if y'all want to continue this conversation, if y'all want to continue
the transition,
y'all can definitely listen tomorrow to the podcast, dropping an episode on all streaming platforms. Jeff, can you tell them some of the streaming platforms that we are on?
Yeah, most definitely. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Anchor. If you're not familiar with Anchor, I'm going to say it again. Anchor is owned by Spotify. So Spotify actually owns Anchor. So there is a platform you can listen on. But you also can listen on Spotify too. So you also have Spotify. You have Apple Podcasts. You also have Stitcher. Stitcher's owned by Sirius XM. So you can listen to it on that. You can also listen to it on Facebook or Metaverse, which is what it's called now. You can listen to it on that. And of course, Google Podcasts, and our website, which is www.topshelfpodcast.com, www.topshelf.com, and all of this is free, so it doesn't cost you anything. But if you enjoy this conversation, you will enjoy our podcast as well.
Absolutely, I can't wait for it. It was such a great episode. And I'm like, and if you guys definitely want to engage with us, y'all can DM us about more topics, things that y'all want to hear about. We definitely want to chop it up with you guys and engage with you guys. And as always, we are here every Monday night at 9 p.m. So just definitely make sure that you tune in, because it's
yes.
Thank you, Lexi. Hold on. We gotta have you on again, Lexi.
We definitely do. Hold on. Next Monday, sad to say, next Monday we will not be having IG Live. Next Monday, we're taking a quick little break, but you definitely can catch us the following Monday after that. But in the meantime, if you enjoy this conversation and you enjoy, what we got to talk about, listen, again, you could go to listen to our podcast and all those platforms that was mentioned. The link is in our bio to our website, and you can just continue to listen on to Top Shelf until we have our next IG Live.
Yeah, and don't forget, share the podcast too. Like, don't be scared. Share the podcast with your friends, your family members, like anybody, your cousins, your puppies. I don't care. Share the podcast. Share with everybody. before, Cornelius gave us a topic. Y'all should talk about how y'all met y'all wives. Ooh.
That's a very good one, actually. That's a very good one.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yo, Anthony, like, I stole her. Nah,
that's a very good topic.
Memory lane, you know what I'm saying?
And they should all come on one by one.
Anthony gonna be on Love is Blind.
I think I was on the person with ultimatums.
Yeah, that was an ultimatum.
Listen, man. Yo, Anthony always getting himself in trouble, bro. Always.
Anthony stupid. Okay, y'all know what time it is. It's the word of the week. Let us know your words of the week. Before we get up out of here, what is your word of the week, Village? Hey, let's start with Anthony. Anthony, what's your word of the week?
I want to go with transparency. I want to go with transparency. That was flowing through the whole conversation tonight, so I'm going with transparency.
Okay. And Jeff, what's yours?
I actually was about to say the same thing. Actually, I was going to say the same thing. Transparency.
All right, let's do it.
I love it. Creativity, man. Creativity.
Ooh, love it.
Straight up and down, just like that. Let's create. And people, Village. What's your word of the week?
What's your word? Talk to us.
Yeah. I was gonna say transparency is a really great word. Like, shoot, let me tell you, that's one of the words you better be ready for. What you ask.
Facts.
Very much true, man.
That's like God. Oh, empowered is really good.
I love that.
That's like asking God to give you patience, man.
Because after transparency, you're gonna be empowered.
You got it. You have to be. You have to be. It's a thing. I'm just hoping that. Oh, reflection.
Ooh.
That is fire. I gotta say that's fire. That's a fire word. Give us one more if y'all got it. She's like, because when you empowered, you have reflection right now.
Ooh, direction.
Direction. I like direction.
I like this word that y'all given.
That's only one. There's only one direction to Christ. Let me tell you. You gotta pull it back around. I was just saying. Top Shelf Village, we love y'all.
We love you guys.
And we will see y'all not this next Monday coming, but the Monday after that one. And we'll be right back to y'all having the same conversations. But like, look, tune into tomorrow's episode to continue this conversation from today. And we'll see y'all the Monday after next. Peace.
Peace.